good morning, everybody. Sarasota Tim. All right, I'm at my doctor's office, and I'm going to find out how he feels about my blood work with all the red numbers. There's a brand new Publix that was supposed to open over a year ago, and I'm curious if it's open yet. But after I come out of the doctor's, I'll talk to you guys about it. And I know one thing, I'm not changing anything. I don't care what he says. I feel excellent. And that's the mainest thing, is how do you look and how do you feel? You know your own body. All right, we'll get back to you. Hey, everybody. I'm back from seeing the doctor. I don't even have my seatbelt on, and I'm already making a video. I'm so excited. So, the guy I met, how about starting it, Baker? What are these guys doing here? The guy I met is also a nurse practitioner as my previous. What am I going to run into? Nothing. It's beeping. This car here's running into some stuff. He's banged up on every side. Super nice guy. Couldn't have got any luckier. Unfortunately, he's floating, and they're trying to find someone permanent. But he does fill in when the other guy goes on, vacation and all. Because I said, man, are you going to be here when I come back in 4 months? We're going to get, labs done again. I went ahead and scheduled. They're going to reach out to me for a GI. I guess I'll go ahead and do another colonoscopy. I had ulcerative colitis for many, many, many years. And ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease are very similar, one and the same, with one affecting from the esophagus down and one is only the lower intestinal tract. And I used to go and get this infusion done every 2 months. But anyway, I went into remission, and a doctor 15 years ago that I was seeing in Atlanta said, why don't we just stop this infusion? I said, what do you mean? I said, I thought I got to do that the rest of my life. This is a chronic illness. He says, well, you're doing so well. Let's just stop. Another blessing from God. And I've never had another flare. I eat, before I changed my diet to carnivore, I was eating what I want and doing what I want. And that was truly a blessing. So get back to today's visit. So just because it maybe should be done, even though carnivore is supposed to be very, very good for ulcerative colitis and intestinal tract, all of my blood work improved from the last time, and it was already good. So everything except the LDL and the cholesterol, which is high. But he said that, cholesterol and LDL, if you have plaque and then you get high those things, you could get more plaque. But if you don't have any plaque, and then talked about the calcium score, I can't regurgitate it other than this particular doctor is fond of the low carb, especially seniors, older people, because of the type 2 diabetes. What I was before, as far as a number towards type 2, that came down. And this is all within 6 weeks of being on carnivore. So I'm not going to, take any kind of a Stalin or anything like that. The blood pressure was fine. He said that another calcium score, when I talked to that cardiologist guy, he's the one that told me that those things don't mean anything. It's maybe he's referring to that ultrasound one I did, not the, no, I think he was referring to the x-ray thing. But that's what the cardiologist said. Doesn't mean anything. I've seen them 5,000. Most people are like 1, 2, none. And mine was 1,500, remember? Anyway, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. All the blood work except the LDL and the cholesterol that's elevated or even high. I'm not doing anything. And he wasn't pressing me that you should consider doing something. He mentioned something about, wrote it down for me, a pill you could buy over the counter. Red yeast rice and 600 milligrams. This particular doctor, nurse practitioner, also was familiar and believed in, or he liked some of the Asian type health practices, like how they sleep, their diets. Instead of on $1,000 mattresses, they sleep on, these thin little things. And we didn't get into it too much. We mostly talked about how big pharma and the medical industry, there isn't solid research regarding cholesterol, and your brain needs it and all that. Regarding that stuff, he echoed what I hear online on YouTube from Dr. Ken Berry and others, that some of these people I watch, are doctors. They say they are. In 1949, whenever it was that president, was it Roosevelt or somebody, had a heart attack, and they said, we got to start figuring out the cause of this and cure it. It's still the leading cause of death. And after all the pills, recommendations, Stalin's, diets, everything else, it's as high, and more people are dying of heart attacks than ever before. So they've made not a dent in it. So none of the research or anything that, unless you've had a stroke or a heart attack, we talked about that. But if you've never had one and your numbers are high and you don't have plaque, you probably don't have as much to worry about. If you have plaque, of which I do some, and your numbers are high, then it's something to maybe that they want to push. But what they're pushing isn't working. People are still dropping dead. What this guy told me that was true regarding cancer is research has proven that cancer is genetic, that unless you induce it through cause and effect, like smoking, and you just try to give yourself cancer. But otherwise, let's say breast cancer, if it's been in your family, there's a chance, there's a very good chance that you could inherit this situation. And these other things, it's like, what do you do? You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Well, I can tell you the best thing that I've discovered versus a pill. I know people that take 5 pills a day. They're overweight. They have no strength. They're taking naps. They're not healthy. They're not unhealthy, like bad, but they're not healthy. And then you got people that I've watched on YouTube, and like myself, in 6 weeks, by fasting and stop eating sugar and everything else except meat, eggs, and butter, protein, the most dense, nutritious food on the planet, carnivore, has done everything. And in 6 weeks, and I got the blood work done, a week ago? The liver, the kidneys all looked excellent. Triglycerides, all these other things, everything. I asked him specifically. I'm not going to lie to you. I said, what is the most alarming or warning thing you can see? That, what's the most important things you look at? And of course, it's always the kidney and liver because they process everything. He says, well, the only thing that comes back is because of the cholesterol and your LDL. But with what you're doing with your diet and how long you've been on it, that's can, kind of change. My pre-diabetes, that's 5.6, was 5.7, or vice versa, and it's 5.5 now, did come down. And you got to remember, this is 6 weeks, not 3 months on carnivore. This is just 6 weeks. It was only 5 weeks when I had the blood drawn. So in 4 more months, when we do labs again, and I stick with this, then we'll really get the numbers. But they've all improved. Everything is, I'm talking about not just marginal, something's creeped up. Everything's come down and everything looks normal. So I got a good report. And I mean, what's he got to, to try to blow smoke up my butt and tell me, oh yeah, you're doing the right thing. He was not against it, like maybe I kind of thought I would run into. I didn't know how old the guy would be or what his beliefs are or what he knows about carnivore. Or he's sticking to what he was trained, in medical school. But he likes a low carb thing, and he's heard of carnivore and likes it. So I asked him, he's young, he's slim, and I said, what do? Do you eat right? You're very active? Do you work out? What is your secret? I mean, besides being young? And he does 2 meals a day. He says, I skip breakfast because of the crashes from the car. He goes, you have a bowl of cereal with milk, you've already consumed like more carbs than you need for the whole day. And so he was up on nutrition. Like I say, he knows a little bit about the Asian stuff. Most doctors, right? People have told me in my comments, they take very little nutrition education. They have to take 30 minutes of it or something. They really are not nutritionists. They're whatever they do. And we got some road closures up here. Wonderful. Anyway, a great visit. No regrets. Glad I got the blood work done. It doesn't truly represent what it'll be in 4 more months. And yes, it showed a little plaque that I had. And then when I did that ultrasound thing, the guy was telling me how great it looked, other than this one vein that was a little bit fatter from the blood pressure, and that they didn't want it to get much bigger, but it was really nothing. They were just trying to find something that they could say something. I'm fine. Now I could drop dead in 5 minutes. I pray I don't. But according to the medical crap, cholesterol don't mean nothing to me. What means something to me is how I'm feeling. I was 117/70 on my blood pressure at home this morning. And then I went there, and I don't know whether my machine's rickety or their machine's rickety or what, but I did come in at 132/75 or 7 or whatever it was there. I forget. It's probably written down here. And, they always tell you, well, going to the doctor can make it high, nervous or something. But it certainly wasn't off the charts. 140s, 150s, the top number. I check it all the time at home. So I'm telling you folks, I'm all about this carnivore, and I'm all about sliding your ass away from the table and only eating once, maybe twice a day, and totally skipping that breakfast, because your body puts out a lot of glucose naturally in the morning when you wake up to give you natural energy. And then if you were to eat breakfast, especially like carbs, cereal, toast, and all this kind of crap, you're just pushing the carbs and the insulin, too much. So, I like the one meal a day right now, and I've got a few more pounds I want to drop. But so there you go. There it is. That's all I got. Without repeating myself, I'm right here to the Ringling Bridge. I'm getting ready to get out and walk it a couple of times and just, enjoy my life. And I'm not doing dishes as often. I'm saving money on food, especially when I do that eggs and hamburger today. Man, I can't wait to make that. It looks so darn good. I'm going to get a bunch of ground beef, 80-20. And I should put that video, that short, I should copy and paste that link and put it in the comments or in the description where you can watch this video, this delicious looking meal that's so satisfying. It's a go-to. Cheaper than eating a damn ribeye every day. That's about to put me in the poorhouse. I've had more steaks. Not complaining, it's great to eat steak, but I hate spending a lot of money on one and, and being kind of tough. And maybe I'm at fault on some of it, overcooking it. But really, I don't know. I think it's just these crappy meats. Without going to a butcher and getting a true good piece, who knows? So maybe I'll just stick with the hamburger. I like the idea of that roast chuck too, or whatever it's called, and marinating. If I could figure that out, how to marinate, or get a crock pot and just crock some of it with the fat in it, I can eat that. I love stew meat. I love when it comes out really tender and it's good. Got my pee bottle over here. I'm going to be using it in a minute. TMI? I wouldn't know what to do without that thing. Saved my life. Oh, the urine, perfect. Nothing wrong there. And as far as going pee, and these young guys come in the bathroom when I'm in the bathroom, and before I can even start, they're done and leaving, washing their hands. He said that just comes with prostate, getting slightly bigger and pressing down on something and pinching the hose, and kind of normal. He says 50% of people. So he goes, you got it and I don't, or I got it and you don't. It's just kind of a luck. So it's nothing to be alarmed about. But all the tests that they did on the urine, because I gave urine too, everything's fine. So at 66 years old, I'm crushing it.